The Yankees have their first baseman. His name is Paul. They also traded away their backup catcher. We're going to talk about those things on today's impromptu episode of Talkin' Yanks.
Talking Yanks with old Germ Boy. Joe's is getting old. Welcome.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. It's December 21st. I'm in my car riding down the street and I see a pretty girl.
Jim?
That's the Pack, Joe's West Coast
Yeah.
rap. I'm in my car. Okay. Jake's here. Joe's is here. BBD's here. We're talking Yanks ball.
We're talking Yanks ball. Paul Goldschmidt's a Yankee.
Paul Goldschmidt signs a one-year deal, $11.25 million. Is that what it was? What's the point?
12.5.
Yeah, 12.5.
12.5. I think it was a waiting game to see where Walker was going to go, knowing that if Walker didn't go to the Astros, both the Astros were going to be in on Goldie, and the Astros took Christian Walker. So the Yanks went and got their one-year man. They love former MVPs, dude. Like, that is something that's been written. Like, it's been written about Cashman, and he's openly said. But he loves former MVPs. They just got Bellinger and Goldie. That's what they're going to say at the press conference. We brought in another MVP.
Absolutely, Jim. Talked about this yesterday, how I really do love this signing. I don't know, maybe is love a strong word?
Yeah, I was going to counter you there right away.
I love it for other reasons. One, now that I see the price tag at $12.5 million, that's great. The other thing is that he won't block anybody, and it's a deal where I feel like the Yankees can be able to, if it doesn't work out 1 year, it's not a Josh Donaldson situation where you feel like you're kind of stuck with him for a couple of years. It's a 1 year thing. If it doesn't work out by the All-Star break, you're probably platooning him, and he's probably somebody that you can let go of or DFA if Ben Rice starts getting going and surprises you in any which way.
That won't happen.
Completely wrong.
What? Not wrong. What are you talking about?
Because it's the whole Yankees allure thing, dude. They're not going to treat Paul Goldschmidt like that. The worst case is Paul Goldschmidt ends up as a platoon.
That's what I said.
Lefties on our
You
bench
said DFA.
again. But
a platoon.
They would never cut him.
He's not going to block anybody in the future, which is good.
In the future, correct.
You mean next year's free agency when there's more corner infielders available?
Correct.
Like that he's not in the way. Yeah, I agree with that. Jake, what do you got?
I mean, we were kind of on this one. When you were doing the Yankees offseason math, it was kind of like, unless you had Christian Walker or like the jealous Mets plan, it was like, hey, they're probably going to find a veteran stopgap. There's two veterans there in Goldie and Santana. Like you said, the MVP thing is ridiculous, and it's not. Like, yes, it's cool that any team can add a former MVP. We'll see how much juice Goldie has left. I think the thing for me that gets me excited is Goldie played, I think, 151 games last year, which, like,
154.
Like, you just don't need that. You just don't need that. Like, he's becoming a true old that, like, the idea of Paul Goldschmidt playing $125 this year, that really excites me. And the Cardinals became a sad team last year. So Paul Goldschmidt, like, down in the lineup if we need him to be, it is a good ad. And I'd like Joey S. corrected himself. He said it's not love, but this is a like. We're another move away, like the final move, which that becomes a lot more interesting with where the money and everything is landed, from being like, hey, the recovery plan from Soto, this was still a good offseason.
They've improved the pitching a ton.
Yes.
And this gets the lineup to a very interesting spot. I got a couple more thoughts before we get to the full picture of the lineup, but just on Goldie himself, he's old. 38 or 37. He'll be 37. The typical fall off is around 34. He avoided that. He won MVP at 35 years old and had like an amazing season in 2022. Also, if you go look at his baseball reference, it was a real fun look for me. Like, I know this dude has been good and he's been good for a long time, But when I looked at the Baseball Reference, every year except for last year is awesome, dude. Like awesome. 4-time Gold Glove winner, and he's always played. Like we don't have any injuries. It's like I think in 2020 he played 58 of the 60. Every other year it's like 140 or 150 down the line. So through his 30s, he's been healthier. And yeah, we have Rice and other options and Oswaldo to give him some days so you don't have to push a 37-year-old to play 154. But to have that defense at first and stability there, like Rizzo was due for a back injury for 3 weeks every year, and they knew that and they signed him. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully we have this is a little more stability. That's the good stuff. And last year his second half was good. His first half was not good. He did get it wasn't amazing, but it was. If he repeats his second half for the Yankees, I will take that with Gold Glove, steady lineup presence. His postseason numbers were also awesome to look at. This dude has brought it every postseason he's been in. That was cool. Like every series is a 900 OPS or 1 dot OPS for the whole series. And then the other thing about him is this is a slugger who had a two-strike approach. When he won the MVP, he had a 725 OPS on 2 strikes. And if you remember, there was a whole storyline about Judge going to him and asking him how to do that and trying to learn from him. So these are 2 batters that have MVP winners, batters that have already like tried to learn from each other. And it was to not do the big step in spring with 2 strikes, no leg kick. Judge tried it all of spring. It was a big storyline, and then he ditched as soon as the season started. But he hasn't had good 2-strike numbers the last 2 seasons. But there's some learnings and some veteranship that I think, and if we can tap back into that, he gets a little rejuvenated. There is like a lot of good history here to try to tap back into.
Yeah, I also seen his numbers at Yankee Stadium are awesome. For his career. And
what are they?
Well, I seen here it was. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I just had it in front of me, but I did see, to piggyback on the end of his season, his last 30 games were even better than like what you see that second half where he had a 920 OPS and he did hit 320 in the last 30 games of like 2024. So I like that. I think he has those power alleys to right field as well. I'll find
the in Yankee Stadium numbers, a small sample size. He's played in the NL his whole career, but in 6 games, 462 batting average with a 1.1 OPS. So at least in every game he's played at Yankee Stadium, he has learned the dimensions.
I think no walks, right?
He likes the lights.
1 homer, no walks.
He likes the lights. Playoffs, Yankee Stadium. What you guys are gonna like, and a lot of Yankee fans, when he hits homers, it's very much like powerful old man shat on a ball. I don't really know how else to describe it. Like it's very quick, it's tight. That you're just like, oh, that's a home run. Like it's not up for debate. It's very Paul Bunyan-esque. And yeah, he's we mentioned the MVP course, but like he has a little bit of a track record of being like the good boring. We know the Yankees love that. That's going to play in their clubhouse.
I kind of like that.
And yeah, I just got a little sad for Rizzo because him and Judge had kind of their whole bromance going, those little wiener dogs and stuff like that. Rizzo's really good. There's respect there. And now like Judge right in bed with a new man.
Instant.
I don't know if I'd word it in that way, but
they're teammates.
Well, how would you word it?
I thought what Kyle in the chat shared a picture that I thought was probably the best thing, where when the Yankees got Matt Holliday, like it was a person for Judge to kind of look to or look up to, kind of. Now they're more peers than anything else, but it's somebody that Judge does respect, and I kind of like that relationship dynamic there. Where you have like that Matt Holliday situation. He could teach the other guys, whoever's there. Like you said, Jimmy, but I do like how Judge already kind of likes the guy and respects him. I'm sure Judge was okay with this deal.
It's a vet who likes to play every day and be good in big moments and prides himself on defense.
Sure.
It's like, at this dude's career, it's exactly who you want in the clubhouse, rubbing off on other people. The one thing that I think we didn't touch on for like Yankees fans that are just going to be angry, like 1 year for another old guy, like seeing all the downsides. Yeah. A lot of our mood around this comes with the context of us knowing the financial situation that, and if anyone comes that doesn't know, like they don't want to go too far above that Cohen tax where you get taxed on every dollar over, and that does not make them cheap because they are spending like the second or third most money in baseball. Right. And they also, because they have so many players on the books long term now, like they added Fried for 8 years, they have Judge, they have Rodon, they have Cole, they have Stan on the books for a little bit, that we knew they were going to do 1 year deals, 2 year deals, because they want this money off before the next cycle when they can go over again, and they just want money off every year. So like we kind of went into the offseason knowing they were going to do some of these small ones. If anyone's like, should have got fucking Walker or Bregman or the big guys and just want all of them, like,
And it's going to be interesting to see the next step because the Trevi trade happens last night, and that's a little out of left field, but everyone probably wants to hear a little bit on that. Jose Trevino traded to your Cincinnati Reds, Joe. So excited you get to follow the journey with him. They get a nasty reliever back. I mean, the perfect Matt Blake chef's kiss, the splitter Yankees, although I'm hearing Mark Leiter trade rumors. That I don't know. I just think it's going to be interesting to see how much the money comes into play because they saved some money on Trevino, but are they going to bring in another catcher? What does that look like? Is this the year that, a Stroman trade still seems likely, which would bring them under that number, but we still need another infielder. So, and it kind of, we're assuming it's going to be an impact infielder. So I think that would be the one.
I'm not.
Well, Jim, do you think they're going to trade Stroman?
Yes.
Okay, well, if they trade Stroman, that would bring them under the tax. However much it would depend on the trade. But then I guess if you say you don't have them bringing an impact infielder, then they would stay under the tax.
Yeah, you have to stay under the tax to start the year because you don't want to go over trade deadlines and stuff like that. You want to give yourself wiggle room for, those late spring signings. Like it's going to be like $5 million under, depending on what
they're going to start a kid sandwich at second or third.
Yeah, that was going to be the end. The conversation about the lineup. Like I fear they're not doing much else, depending on what they can do with Stroman. But I'm not expecting an impact bat anymore. They need lefties, so they need Dominguez to get run now. And I think the outfield's set. Dominguez, Belly, Judge. The infield, you have spots for Oswaldo or Peraza to compete for a spot. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to get a veteran, but I don't think it's going to be anyone that's like it's going to be another 1-2 year guy that they're just trying to plug in there. And then you wait for, I just don't know what the money looks like, but they're pretty tight right now. You can't be like $1 million under to start the year. That actually just happened to the Cubs. The Cubs went over because their accountant fucked up the money.
So that's part of why Belly Talks took so long.
You can't do wiggle room where you get close because the numbers get crazy when you get into actual service time and days and the rookies you call up or the veterans you trade for. Like you have to give it. Usually it's like $5 million of wiggle room, and they're close, man.
We're currently over. I mean, this is Stroman trade assumed that would bring them back down, and I do think it lines up, and maybe the word impact is interesting because I don't know if it's Jorge Polanco or I don't know, like the Brandon Lau trade I keep dreaming of. I mean, that would be the golden goose at this point.
It would be a trade, not a signing, if it's like someone that we're excited about.
I mean, they have some of those. That second level of prospect packages that, again, if Tampa was into that or if there's something else out there, I'll be interested to see. I do think the one thing that is in the back of my head, the Yankees are pretty reactionary. That 5th inning hurt.
Yep.
That 5th inning hurt. That Paul Goldschmidt, he's got gold on his glove. Belly's got gold on his glove. That I could see them going.
Trevi couldn't hold runners.
I could see them making another defensive move. And again, I think I've gone from 5% to 10%. I could see them going over the tax and doing like Bregman and everyone looking around the locker room and being like, we brought in MVPs. We brought in World Series winners. We brought in defense. Soto's gone. Okay. Like, let's run. I think I went from 3% to 6% on that.
That would be so interesting with Judge and Belly, two guys that openly shit and like we're mad.
Goldie, Bregman, Jazz. I mean, boom.
I'd be so open to that.
Crazy weird clubhouse.
Yeah, I'd be so open to that.
It's a little bit of a funky. Sorry, Joes. It's a little bit of a funky warehouse. Talking about our warehouse games. I guess you should subscribe. The clubhouse is interesting, Joseph, because I mean, there's a lot of respect, but there's a lot of guys with money, a lot of guys with hardware, and that's a good thing, but that's also got to come together.
No, it does have to come together, and I think I was very adamant about like I want more people with hardware in there, whether it's World Series rings, whatever MVPs or Gold Gloves, whatever, just all of that. Just because I think experience is something that you can learn from, but I do think that the Yankees will bring in somebody else. I would love Bregman. I don't know if I'm so far out there. I did see that that MLB.com, I think Brian Hoke had an article out there where they said that the Yankees already tried to trade for Nolan Arenado, and that apparently if Goldschmidt goes to the Yankees, which he has now, that he would waive his no trade to go to the Yankees to play for them, and he has hardware when it comes to Gold Gloves and all of that. So Arenado, do you like that? I was looking at his money. I think he has $60 million in the last 3 years. However, you can get, I don't want to say pennies on the dollar situation, but I don't think that you're going to get, I think it's like a Giancarlo with the Marlins situation. He just vetoed a trade to the Astros that they had. And the Yankees I remember that St. Louis had a trade for Giancarlo Stanton, and he vetoed that. And they had to get a lesser package from the Yankees. And they even had to throw in money that they didn't want to throw in. So if you can be able to, they were willing to pay down to $15 million for Arenado to go to the Astros. And the Yankees already had a deal on the table that the Astros are like, I mean, the St. Louis Cardinals are like, no way, we don't want Stroman. But if you can make that work, and he's willing to waive the no trade, sometimes for teams that's half the battle.
And you throw in JoJo Romero. I have a question for Beebs. Mm-hmm. How much is Leiter Jr. making, and how much is Brubaker making, and how much is Trent Grisham making?
I have Mark Leiter Jr. penciled in for 2.1 in arbitration. JT Brubaker's at about 1.8. Who is the other one you asked for?
Trent's like 5.
Trent's 5. Was there a fourth?
No, that's all.
Those three add up to 8.9 in estimates.
But it's a lot to get rid of. That's too many buys. Trent should not stop them if they want to bring in someone like his $5 million. They can find that somewhere else. I like guys. If they add Bregman and Arenado, the storylines you're saying, we got Gold Glovers, we got MVPs, we got playoff winners. We've changed the narrative and the vibe and the hunger. Like I will buy into that. It's a real weird clubhouse dynamic. It's very interesting, and they'd have to go over the tax by a decent amount, which would be cool. But I'm not that upset with Hal if he spends $300 million, goes and does Freed, does all the stuff he's done, and doesn't want to get taxed 50 cents on every dollar to go over. Like I'm not like angry about that. He's still spending a ton of money to do.
No. I think it's just interesting. Like we've already made it to this point that, we're a move away from all of us kind of looking at each other like, it's done, which,
Yeah.
you know, and sure, backup outfielder, backup catcher, another reliever, whatever. But like, we're a move away from being it's done. And I guess my thing is, if I'm the Yankees front office, we just went to the World Series, and hopefully those World Series Kashish numbers came in and looked good, because they should. And then it's just finishing off this team now. It's so different if Jazz comes in as the third baseman. It makes third base a little bit of a question mark, at least defensively. Second base, if we're not doing something there, that makes second base a question mark, which makes the Dominguez risk in the outfield just a step further, which it's just like, if you close the loop with a good third baseman right now, our season is like, let's see if Dominguez works. And he's feels like a real prospect that we've seen a little bit from that should work. That's got to be super tempting to just close out that loop.
Yeah, if they were to go get one of those guys you're talking about, like a stud, it goes from Dominguez, Volpe, Wells, next campaigns, and Jazz at third, but he would probably move to second. But it goes from those three storylines being like, this is risky, we're really leaning on them, to, hell yeah, we have enough room to let these dudes play and really see what we got. It's a much better place to be. I sent you guys the text last night before Goldie was official, but about the lineup where I was saying, you know, I think the rotation's better. You cannot argue it's not. And I think the bullpen's better because Clay led the league in blown saves and Devin Williams is really good. I believe in their ability. If they turned Luke Weaver into a guy, what they should be able to do with Cruz, who they just got for Trevino, who they have for 4 years, should be crazy. I mean, if they took Luke Weaver's stuff, that's what Reds fans were saying. They were like, I watched him pitch. It wasn't good. I said, okay, well, you also had Luke Weaver, and your coaches didn't know how to do that. So, and Clay, which was a problem last year, but for 2 years he was good. But lineup-wise, currently there's balance and there's speed, like base running throughout. I presented it as, because I don't even know how to lay it out, but I presented it as right now, Jazz leadoff lefty, Judge righty second, Belly 3-hole lefty, Stanton cleanup righty. You could do Wells if you wanted to go lefty again, or Dominguez if he's going, but lefty Wells, righty Goldie, lefty Martian, righty Volpe, switch Oswaldo. So you've got the balance you want, like crazy. You've got speed and Jazz, athleticism and Belly, Martian, Volpe mixed throughout. And then I followed up with the word, Jake, you said you agreed with. It's just so dodgy looking and feeling. Like, it's just like, you could make the case of all those things, but I'm like, I don't think that's it.
Dodgy was the perfect word. BBD liked the text instantly, which that made me feel good about it, because I was, late night Jake always gets just a little risky. And the way Chris Ahmad's been treating me on Instagram, just some doesn't feel right about it, but whatever. I guess that's where I'm at. Like, you sent that lineup and it's like, this is good. This is something. But again, going back to the defensive conversation, like, okay, so leadoff is a question. Like, I believe in Jazz to put up numbers next year, but should he be the leadoff guy in front of Judge? I don't know. Like the lefty pop thing that we've talked about a little bit. I don't know. And then like I just got a little nervous that like they're going to give Goldie still like current MVP treatment, that they might throw out balance and like not bat him 6 or something. But it feels like defensively and offensively, you're one move away from being like, here come the Yanks. And if there's ever a time to do a here comes the Yanks, it's 5 years removed from COVID. It's Juan Soto left for the Mets. It's like, well, the money from the World Series, Jim. That's what I'm saying. Like the Yankees, that was one of the big things we talked about. That the
money lost from COVID you're referencing? Okay.
That the Yankees had restrictions more than some of the other teams financially, that seeing that World Series money, seeing Soto goes, it just feels like now you can lay it down. And with Stroman, and like if an Arenado dump is done right, or however you do it, you don't end up crazy over that tax threshold where you're spending a ton of money. And I think I know Joe's had one more thing on the locker room because he wanted to talk about Stanton and Belly.
Sure. You want me to talk about them right now? I mean, I don't think they care. I think they just want to win.
What are you talking about?
I do like Bellinger being able to play first base, though. You don't have to play the 37-year-old every day. But the Yankees, by the way, just want to put it out there right now. Just sign Goldschmidt. Yankees are looking very Philly-ish. They need some flavor in that locker room, Bob. Need some flavor, some sazon in that locker room. I need something. It's very
like who's
unseasoned. We need some seasoning in there.
So you're demanding Jose Iglesias.
I just want give us some flavor somewhere. I don't know where, but just give us some flavor somewhere. It's a little bit more.
I did have the thought process when you guys were
trying to find
it. Just like the infield and Ben Rice, they probably just AAA him until they need him. But with Oswaldo having played some first, like they should actually have like the Oswaldo Marlin Gonzalez plan. Like Oswaldo should play 3 times a week, and Goldie sits, and Volpe sits once or every other week, and like Oswaldo should actually be deployed in that role because he earned it.
Yeah, it'll suck when they break camp with Oswaldo at AAA because they got to go through the DJ facade.
Yeah. Or they do a facade with Peraza, who's out of options, but Oswaldo isn't.
I think they might use the Stroman dump to find another quadruple A catcher.
Sure.
Because they need that.
My camera freeze? Oh, no, it didn't. It's fine.
Like the catcher they got from the Reds.
I think he is quadruple A.
Well, they need another, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You need an option to not have him, and they don't have that right now.
I feel like
I could see another catcher coming in.
Like, hey, Stroman, you want him? You got to eat some of his money, and you got to give us your backup catcher.
Boom.
Okay.
And they hit lefties well. Great.
Presently,
so far, the Yankees have traded for relievers who strike guys out, who have swing and miss stuff.
Get it, Jim.
They've traded for defenders who have won Gold Gloves at their position.
Cook.
And they're creating balance in the lineup.
Cook.
Could someone send this to the 2023 Yankees brass and be like, wake up? Because, goddamn, 2021 through 2023, they were just like asleep.
Agree. It's the Yankee way now.
Relievers who strike people out's cool. Guys who are good at their position, cool. And you know what? If this is their thinking, Jake, then you have to get a third baseman and move Jazz to second.
Yes.
You have to. Then you have Gold Glove or Volpe. Jazz won a Gold Glove at second, or just very good? Never won a Gold Glove.
It was
right?
by far his best
Yes.
defensive season was the full year he played second base.
Judge goes to right field. That's his best position.
Yes.
You have a Gold Glover in center. You have a Gold Glover at first.
Gold Glover at left.
Well,
Future.
Hopefully Dominguez wins one.
He's athletic. He's young enough to figure it out. Go get it. Presently constituted. Do you guys feel like this team, I don't know how to word this. Do you feel like this overall team has gotten better than the team that went to the World Series last year? I know.
It's a really interesting question for me.
What's going on my camera? All right.
Because you have people playing in proper positions. Like, they lost so many regular season games last year because of bad defense. and bad relief pitching strategy. Like
17
games in the regular season, probably, I would say, came down to ground ball relievers and a terrible defense. Because Clay blew what? 16 games? 13? 14?
Mm-hmm. I think it was 15. Was it 15 or 16? One of the two.
And there had to be times there was other relievers who got. I think Tim Hill got once. I think Tonkin got once by the defense. So, like, I think they're a better fundamental team right now. How many games did Soto win them alone? I'm not sure. What I would, and then Fried plugs in above everyone else besides Cole, drops him down. Hopefully, have a full year of Cole.
Yes.
Like I'm not going to say they're better right now because Soto was unworldly, and they're not. But the defense is better. The starting pitching's better. The bullpen is better, and the lineup is worse. If they added a bat like Bregman or Arenado or Big Bat, I don't think they're going to. So I don't want to. You guys kind of put me into a dream world that I don't want to be in. I think they can. I think they can win the same way, but in a different formula than last year.
It's a really good question, Joe.
What was it?
It's a really good question you asked.
Yeah.
Do you start before the season? Because before the season last year, like we had Rizzo bounce back hope. We had, Verdugo. Like, could he be great with the Yankees? And then right before the season, Cole gets hurt. But then by the end of the season, okay, Verdugo's out there literally just to catch fly balls, but Cole's back, but our first base position is hurt. So I don't know. I think it's close. I think with the optimism that we have for guys right now in the offseason, I think that makes us a little blind to it, that I would have last year maybe a tick better. But again, we are still probably one go live move away and 2 filler around the roster moves away.
I hope we don't do filler. I really do think that the Yankees see this window as a small window. You can tell because not as the Yankees. I'm just talking about the AL's weak right now. So they're looking at it as like, yo, we can strike right now. And even if we go over the tax here, and yes, 50 cents on every dollar, that World Series money paid a lot. So we can figure something out here. So we'll see.
Doing some bookkeeping officially. No options or funny business on the Goldschmidt contract. Straight up 1 year, 12.5.
Good. Penny's a lefty.
Joe's, They need to sign like a Dominican player or a Japanese player or a Venezuelan player. Like, you're right.
Very white team.
Like Soto had the Dominican community like popping in the Bronx. Like, it was fun. And he gave like Oswaldo and the Martian someone to look up to, even though he's younger than them. And then they usually always have a Japanese guy to get the international crowd around. So just like, I'm not talking to Cashman on roster construction and gameplay. I'm talking to Randy Levine on the global economy and the brand of the Yankees. Our outreach outside of the U.S. isn't currently there right now with representatives from other nations. We used to be the Kings of Venezuela. Last year we had King of Dominican, and we had Tanaka, Kuroda, Matsui, Ichiro. We've always had a Japanese representative, so probably go get Roki.
I'd be okay with that. If that, I'm gonna be honest. Yankees get Roki Sasaki. This offseason takes a different area. Like, I'm in a different area mentally than what I am right now. Getting another third baseman and this stopgap. Like, this offseason would go up by leaps and bounds if they get Roki Sasaki.
Joe,
Unlikely, though, as he made everybody take his meetings in LA. I don't know what that's about, but I'm just saying. It's a little.
It's kind of like when. Well, you know what, dude? That might be better because it was like
Right. Yamamoto.
Yamamoto took his meeting in New York when it was this weather. Actually, like we got a Christmas snow today. It was magical, but
magical.
It was like dreary and gross. And he was like, "This stinks." So probably better for the East Coast teams to just go there. Like, don't even check. No, it's under renovation right now. You should see it when it's finished in green.
Yes.
Joe's, what would your reaction be if the Jack Curry tweet drops? It's Roki Sasaki signs with the Yanks, and the Padres traded us Manny Machado.
Okay. First of all, I am calling Ryan Cohen for a health check. Okay, that's number one, because he is banking on Sasaki. He says like that's all he wants, and for him to lose Manny Machado, that would be insane. Come on, what are the chances that? No, that would bring some flavor.
We have Jazz, but he's from Bahamas. It's not even like a baseball town.
Right, and that's fine too. But you need more flavor. You need some more seasoning in there to make sure that the pot tastes good. You know what I mean? You can't. You know,
in the rotation, you got Heel.
You do.
Jim, you're my Disney movie guy.
Yeah.
Like maybe the Yankees and Jazz, they take over the Bahamas. It becomes this baseball powerhouse, and we get every Bahamian baseball player.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Would you be very happy for a Nolan Arenado trade if they can swing it?
Medium.
Batting seventh in the lineup or eighth or whatever it is. I don't know.
How much they
medium.
I'll talk myself into it.
You know what? Medium is fine. I think I'll take medium out of
I lied. It'd be high because the defense would be sick.
The defense would be sick.
As weird as it sounds, I'd be more excited about Bregman, even though like his numbers are going down. You probably got to do a 5-year deal. Very weird with Belly and Judge, and I'd hate to. Again, just read Andy Martino's book about the clubhouse and how bad it was with Jeter and A-Rod and like all the hostilities. I don't want that, but like kind of like Bregman's "fuck you" attitude.
I do too. You know what? Go get Correa.
For a team that's getting clowned on Saturday Night Live everywhere, like they're the fucking joke of sports right now. You got football announcers talking about how a guy dropped a punt and that looked like Judge in center field. Like, dude, joke of sports right now. Like, It's bad. Now you got the general public talking about how they lost out to Soto and they're the New York's team right now when no one even fucking goes to Queens besides people in Queens. I'll say this. It pissed me off so much. All the reporters saying, oh, he liked playing in the Bronx and Queens is only 3 miles away. Name me another 3 miles that you can only get to in an hour or more. People in Kansas are hearing that thinking they're 3 minutes apart on some freeway. If you want to go from the Bronx to Queens, it's an hour.
It's
by
an hour.
car,
it's a hour.
by train, by any fucking thing. You can't tell the rest of the U.S. they're 3 miles apart. Dude, Queens, Brooklyn, Long Island are like fucking, that's where castaways go to hide from society.
It's why Staten Island is kind of like, Staten Island's also another place that people just like, oh, they're not even part of New York.
And I told this to 2 people in our office who live in Queens, and they said it's a very fair take. They said, that's fair. We're pretty isolated. I was like, yeah, like you can't just tell the rest of the country, oh, it's only 3 miles apart. That's a Kansas City 60 miles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Got it off my chest.
Thank you.
Good.
It's good. Hey, I like that. That's good. I think it was needed. Just want to put that out there. That's awesome. So Arenado, Bregman, that's a go live, right? I'm just putting that out there. It is, yes. Sasaki is we're driving into the office on Christmas.
Probably still live from
Sasaki,
our home, but...
bro.
Well, would you be okay if they got If you would you be okay if they got Sasaki but not another bat? I don't know how much that does for me. I guess because you have him for 6 years.
You can
Well, if you
trade a
get
pitcher
Sasaki,
for a bat.
it changes like Clark is probably getting traded. Like it changes the Yankees ammo formula that you turn that into another solid position player.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to get him, but yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. And then I still think they're going to, well, there's not enough money now.
Right.
I was going to do like a 1-year vet pitcher, but they'll just do a ton of spring training invites for any veteran pitcher who hasn't signed.
Yes.
There's going to be a surprise one. And
too much Joes. I got too many sick thoughts. I've been like, oh, Tanner Scott would fit in the bullpen. It's like, you're an idiot, Jake.
Tanner Scott.
They don't have. Hey, and if Hal goes over, I'll be excited and I'll be wrong, but I just wouldn't get myself excited. Like I
over
think
by a lot.
That's an extra gift on Christmas. Truly.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
If they're willing to go over like by a little and just not be like next year, and the directive is just like save where you can. Example: trading Jose Trevino for a reliever they like. That still gives them like $10 million over the Cohen tax to work with. If it's just don't be more than last year, it's just a chance they'll go over a little.
Even if they want to be right at the money right now, before spring, then like you can get rid of Trent. And that gives you the buffer room you need because $4 million for his role is you don't need it. $5 million for his role, yeah, you don't need that. When like you can even go sign someone for $1 million to be your back fourth outfielder.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I got to turn the heat on. I'm starting to get cold.
Check out my band Crooked Ways.
Subscribe.
Subby.
Goodbye.
Good high.
Grandma.